Hello everybody, my name is Pierce, this is Tales from the Road. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I'm here in central Istanbul in my Airbnb, and I am currently a digital nomad. One question my friends often ask me is how I afford to travel so much and how I afford my ability to be a digital nomad. And currently the job that I have that allows me to live this lifestyle, to do what I do, is tutoring online. Tutoring online has blown up. It's become a huge international need as the need for business proficient English and other languages around the world has become so popular in our globalized society. To capitalize on this, there are many platforms around the internet that you can find that offer places for you to post a profile, for you to upload information about yourself, your qualifications. And I would like to tell you today how to become a successful tutor online so that you can live the lifestyle you want to live, travel the world like me, and see where the world can take you. If that sounds interesting to you, come along. Today I'm going to illustrate some tricks, some tips, some ideas of how you can truly build the profile that you need to be successful, to make sure that you have consistent students, to make sure that you have a consistent income and salary, and to make sure that you have the ability to move around, to do what you want, and to be successful as a tutor online. So follow along. The long story short is I've been tutoring for quite a long period of time. I teach English and German, and I first started as a way to make money, for beer money when I was in university. I found that I really liked tutoring, and as a native English speaker, there's a lot of things that I could give to other people and that I could make sure that they could learn English in a way that's comfortable, that's proficient, that makes them feel like they're getting something out of it. And it's also a good way for, of course, a young person to make money. At that time, when I started in 2000, I don't know, let's say 14, there's no way I knew that this would be my ticket to the life that I wanted to live, to being a digital nomad, to having economic freedom, to having a constant salary in a very inconstant way of living. I move around all the time. So I've been a digital nomad for about 9 months now, and it's been quite the journey. But the best part about it is that I can work when I want, I can live where I want, I can do what I want, and this is all thanks to online tutoring. So let's talk about online tutoring, the world that it is, and how we can get you started today. Online tutoring in today's global world has become a really vital piece of the internet and of online learning. English, being the lingua franca, the language that everybody needs to speak to be functional on a global scale, means that people want to learn English. So being a native English speaker, you have an amazing ability to capitalize on if you do a little bit of training beforehand, and these are skills that you can sell to people for a price online. If you do happen to speak a different language than English, or English and another language, you multiply your chances of getting students, which is a really good place to start. So for example, I speak English and German, and so I'll teach people in German, teach people in English, and you can really diversify the kinds of students that you can have, which is a great start. So the first question I'm going to answer is it worth it? How much money do you make? People always ask me this. So I'm not going to tell you my exact salary because it's a little invasive, but I will tell you that there's a lot of money to be made on these internet sites. So the way that these sites work is they're platforms online. Essentially, you put up a profile. The majority of them then take a commission of every lesson you have. Some are a little bit more invasive. They pay you hourly and they really monitor your what you do in your lessons. Others are really just like Upwork. They're online platforms. You can put a profile and then people come if they like your service and they don't come if they don't like your service. I'll illustrate these two a little bit later. But the question is, can you make a livable salary being an online tutor? The answer is not exactly straightforward. I would say yes. It depends if you're willing to live in a country that's a little bit cheaper than Western Europe, the United States, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. So the thing is, if you work full-time as a tutor, you can make anywhere between $1,000 per month to $4,000 per month. It depends how much you work. It certainly depends how much your price that you're charging is, and it depends on how many students you're able to get. I've seen people charge up to $50 an hour for an English lesson, especially focusing on IELTS and the TOEFL, which are these online second language language tests that students need to prep for. You can also do SAT prep and other things for international students coming to the United States. So obviously these are the big bucks as far as tutoring is concerned. The average person online who's just like maybe a business professional or wants tutoring for their kid is probably going to want around $15 to $30 an hour. I find that's pretty typical. And then there's just the everyday language learner who's just interested in chatting online or maybe learning a little bit from someone. And those people, they'll pay between $8 and $20 an hour. So, you can really do the math on this. If you work 20 hours a week part-time and you charge $20 per hour, you make $400 a week, which is already $1,600 a month. Be aware that many of these sites have commissions. Nothing's free in this world, and they give you the opportunity to find students. So you just have to play with different sites. Each one has their own commission. Each one has their own idea. Pick a number that you want to make. Like, let's say I want to make $18 an hour. Some you'll have to charge $22 an hour. Some you'll have to charge $23 an hour. Some you'll have to charge $18, and they'll add it on top of it, so you don't really need to worry about it. So $4,000 a month is quite a lot of money in a lot of places, and even $2,000 a month is quite a lot. So I'm living in Turkey. The cost of living is probably half of that of the United States right now. I'm working online full time. I have a bunch of students, and I can say that I have complete economic freedom. I'm able to buy what I want. I'm able to go out when I want. I'm able to do the things that I want to do. And most importantly for me, I'm able to travel when I want. And that's a beautiful thing, which is why this lifestyle is so appealing. So you want to be an online tutor. Where do you start? So let's talk platforms. There's Preply, which is my platform of choice. It comes from Ukraine. It's like a freelancer site. You just make a profile, you upload a video, you write about yourself, and students come and find you. There's Verbling, which is very similar to that one. There's Apprentice, which is the French or Belgian equivalent of that. Then you have and then you have italki, the Chinese equivalent. I think they're based in Hong Kong. Next, you have your Chinese companies. This could be like VIP Kids. There's another one. I'll post the links below. And those ones are a little bit more driven towards teaching Chinese people and driven towards teaching children specifically. So pick your niche. Who do you want to teach? For me, I like to teach business professionals. I like to teach people over the age of 12, and that's a pretty hard line for me. So if you want to teach children, there's certain platforms for you. If you don't want to teach children, there's also certain platforms for you. So don't be afraid to, tell people who you don't want to teach, or be picky with your students. I don't want to teach 5-year-olds, and I have no interest in that, and so I don't. People request me, hey, can you teach my 5-year-old German? I say, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't have the skills, I don't have a proper teaching degree for children, and I just don't feel comfortable talking to a 5-year-old for an hour. I don't know how that would function. So pick the platform that's right for you, but mostly diversify your platforms. Get on 4 platforms. Don't be on one platform. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of different avenues for finding people online. That's a trick that I use. I'm on all of these platforms, and I'll link my profiles below so you can see what those look like. Number 2, build an attractive profile. I know this seems pretty obvious, but I see a lot of tutors online with terrible profiles, and I'm sure those people do not get a lot of students. So I want you guys to get students. The point is, you have basically some description box where you can write what you do, why you're interesting, and don't use big words, don't use a crazy vocabulary, be straight into the point, maybe use some capital letters to draw people's attention. The description is definitely important, but it's not as important as your tutoring video. All right, I've seen lots of different ways to do this. The majority of people, 90%, they go on their webcam, they talk in front of their webcam for 2 minutes. Sometimes they want you to talk in the languages that you can speak for your students' benefit, but be better than that. Think of this as your one chance to market yourself, and there's 10,000 English tutors. If you have a really bad, grainy video where you look uncomfortable, where there's no editing, it looks like you tossed it up in 2 minutes, be better than that. I made a video with my camera. Obviously, I do this a lot because I make the YouTube videos, but this is your one chance to sell yourself and market yourself. Come off really friendly. Come off really interesting. Show what languages you speak. Show passion. People like this. People all the time request me just because of my video. It's not as long as other people's videos. Speak slowly and clearly and be direct and smile. This is what people want. People don't want boring teachers sitting in a dark room. People want to think that, hey, I'm connecting with someone online. this is going to be great. This person looks really nice and they have an interesting story. They took time with their video, so they obviously care. So make a nice video. Just do it. It's not so hard. The last part of your profile that you'll fill out is the hours that you're available to work, and the rest of the logistical details. So make sure that your time zone is correct. Make sure that you actually pick hours that you are willing to work, and make sure that all of that's in order. So once you've built your profile, this is really the start to any tutoring journey online. And there's so much you can do from there. After your profile is built, the number one thing you have to do is start with a low price. Realize that there are thousands of English teachers or thousands of Spanish teachers online, many of which have reviews, many of which have hundreds of hours worked, many of which are built into the algorithm. So if you start charging $22 and you don't have a teaching degree and you don't have reviews and you don't have any traction, nobody is going to take your class. Nobody. Be aware that trial lessons on a lot of platforms either are free for the student or you make just a very small amount. So you want at the beginning to just have a lot of trial lessons. Just kind of get used to the platform, get used to tutoring, get used to being online, being available, showing up, being consistent. These things are really important for being a tutor online. Once you have some traction, so maybe start maybe you do your first 10 lessons for $5 an hour. This is an investment towards the future. If you want to make $30 an hour down the line, you have to start low. You have to get traction. You have to get people saying, hey, I had a great lesson with this person, or hey, I had so much fun learning with this person. It's really important. Like, it's the same thing. You don't want to stay at an Airbnb that has no reviews and no pictures or one bad picture. So build your profile and then build it up from the ground up. Use the algorithm to your own benefit, and make sure that when people do search English teachers in the future, that they see you have 10 reviews and they have 10 happy students and you have 4.9 out of 5 stars, and then they feel like, hey, like if other people like this person, I'll like this person too. It's not rocket science. Number 2 is have passion for the job. You want to build engagement and build traction, especially for your profile, through actually good teaching. So some people want to do this as a side job, and I understand you have a skill and you want to sell it, and not everyone's passionate about teaching. I like teaching. Is it my ideal job? No. But I go into it with professionalism. I go into it with a passion for the profession, and I want to be friends with my students. I want to give my students something, and I want to make them feel like they're getting their value. I've taken language learning on the other side. I've been the student myself, and I've had certain teachers. While they've been nice, you could tell some of them the passion wasn't there. If you're just going to throw me stuff that I could find online by myself and sit there while I read it or sit there while I write some stuff, it's not particularly that interesting, especially if you're at a higher level where you want to talk with people, you want to share your experiences, you want to practice your language. Be aware that lots of people who want tutoring online aren't necessarily like beginners. A lot of them are business professionals who want to feel more comfortable doing interviews or want to feel more comfortable doing presentations, or just don't have anyone to talk with in their own language, and they want to just spend that hour talking, being interested, being social, and practicing something maybe they don't get to practice every day. So it's really important. If you're going to be a tutor, you gotta put some effort into it. Your students will tell if you're not putting effort in, and if you don't sell yourself correctly, they won't come back in the future. So you've built your platform, you've got some traction, you've got some reviews. Now it's time where you can start ramping up your price. Once you have a little base of students, you can slowly increase your price. If people see that you have reviews, obviously more people will come. It'll be a nicer time for you. So start low and work your way up. Maybe it'll be a few weeks, maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be a month and a half. You just gotta get some wins on the board. And once you have those wins, by all means, start charging that $20 an hour. If you're more qualified and you really have been tutoring for a long time and you have the IELTS background, you have a TEFL, these teaching certificates, and you feel like you're worth more than $10 an hour, just get a little bit of traction and then go for it, and then explode, and then put it for $40 an hour. But just people aren't going to buy $40 an hour lessons unless they see that you have reviews, unless they see that you have more than 150 hours taught on the platform. At least that's my experience. Before I get into my last point, if you find the video interesting, make sure to leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear from other tutors. It's a community, and I'd like to hear from you guys. So thanks. The last point I'll make is you have to bring some professionalism into this job. Being consistent is the number one key for being a tutor. You have to have consistent hours for your students to book. If your life is a mess and you're tutoring sometimes on Tuesdays, but other times not on Tuesdays, your students, they have lives too. So don't expect that you have open hours that people are just going to book them just because, they like you or whatever. You need to be consistent. You need to have available times that make sense for you and that made sense for your students. And when your students click like book lesson, they need to know that you're going to be there at least 95% of the time. Now, something happens, things come up, obviously, but the main point is don't cancel on your students. Canceling on your students is the number one way to make sure that they won't come back with you. Things happen. Sometimes you don't end up meeting. Sometimes you oversleep. Sometimes, it's a job. Things happen. Your students will also cancel on you. That's just a reality of it. But if you have a knack for canceling, if you cancel 2 out of the 5 meetings that they've booked with you, that person's going to be like, well, I'm busy. I'm a business professional. I don't have time to waste for a tutor who doesn't seem to take this seriously. So don't cancel on your students. A lot of the platforms actually penalize people for canceling, which makes sense. So instead of canceling, maybe reschedule. Maybe find different ways to avoid having the algorithm hurt you from some sort of cancellation, I would say. And the last thing to being a successful tutor is build a relationship with your students. Don't take it for granted. Don't treat them like they're just a number, or don't treat them like they're just, the money coming in. These people have hand-selected you from a bunch of different options. They figured you were the guy, you were the girl to help them achieve their goals. And really, the least you can do is just do a good job, build a nice relationship with your student, and make sure they feel like they're getting the value for their money and their time that they're putting in you, that they're trusting in you, and that they're really investing in you to do a good job and make sure at the end of the day they come out knowing a little bit more than they went in. And that's going to be it for us guys today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it was helpful. If you found it interesting, if you still have another question I didn't answer, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. I will certainly reply, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.